What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 70 of my Total Warhammer 3 Ikit Claw Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, as the enemies turned to being the aggressors over the end turn, we started to lose a little bit of ground with a few territories like Mordheim here, and I believe Frozen Landing, yes, taken. And not that these are consequential, mind you, but they are still territories that we have to take back, and just as a matter of principle. Fortunately, at least at the Frozen Landing, we were able to very heavily damage one of the enemy Crackadrak dwarf armies, though they will be recovering it by the looks of it. On the other hand, this is not going to last very long for them, as Charge Lock is coming, and I do have faith in his ability to destroy pretty much all of this. So, we'll get there shortly. Now, as for this turn, it looks like the Crooked Moon orcs have decided to come down. There are plenty of them here at Karazakarak. We've sighted Skarsnik down below Carrick Drawn here and heading towards Black Crag, and then two in March stance right beside Queek Headtaker, which is probably not a place they want to be, and at least Queek will be happy about it, as he has bonuses for fighting dwarfs and, well, for his own army. Entire army, rather, in general. So it should be a pretty fun time for him. In addition to that, we've got other dwarfs to fight. Or other dwarfs, but, well, yeah, I guess other dwarfs, considering Crackadrak, right here near Carrick Zorn. Corporal could, in theory, destroy the rest of what remains here, though there are quite a few of them if we consider both the two stacks here and the Garrison, though at this point Corporal is in pretty good shape. And the question, I suppose, is where do we start, and that is going to have to be, I think, with a little bit of admin and then a battle. Let's first move Scalpite down south here to the Deadhead Monoliths, and Shife we can still move. Lovely. Oh, now here's a problem. Do we go for the Suntree Glades, or do we move down to Nahuantl to defend against this little army? Well, since there's no army at Suntree Glades, I guess, well, I hate to waste a turn like this, but I don't think we have much of a choice. Alrighty. We're gonna move back to Nahuantl. And, yeah, just go back to Nahuantl. I assume what's going to happen is Amaratak here is going to move back towards Zlatlan. But what we could do is just follow him to Zlatlan instead, kill him there and take it, and then move northward to Suntree Glades and Quexotl. Although, actually, if they remain undefended, we could send a Scalpite to grab them just as easily. Certainly potential for doing that. Now, what else do we want to do just admin-wise? First of all, and I remember I wanted to do this last episode, we have to move you, Metable, somewhere here. Let's say, ooh, wait. Nah, I was thinking we could maybe ambush Glum Zufbarden here, but it doesn't look like that's actually a possibility. Oh well. Let's just move up. In fact, wait, how far can you go? This is in March stance, so probably here in non-March stance, eh? Yeah, alright, we could probably move a little bit further. Let's put you, let's say, right here. I wonder if he could reach us there. Maybe not that far. We don't want to get reached by him in March stance ourselves. You, Cyprus, can you go into ambush stance? Nah, just keep both of you in March stance. Right beside each other. They can support each other for now, though we will be deleting Cyprus later on. It doesn't look like the enemy will be able to attack us here, and we do have to be careful as there are lots and lots of dwarfs that they have to hold off while Ikit comes back. Speaking of Ikit, he is going to quickly grab this little island here, Remnants of Battle, and then we're going to be on our way. Let's go campaign, Sunken Chest. And we got some lag-sealed rations, okay, decent for Ikit's army. Not that his army is all that expensive, actually. And then we begin moving now. Would it be faster? I guess this would be the fastest route, wouldn't it? Alright, go. Away you go, Ikit. You shouldn't be needed to take care of this. Garth, you are going to grab Castle Artois. This would mean leaving Gisoro, where it could potentially get attacked by Grutshod here, who is now getting a Wa. On the other hand, there's nothing here that he could hit, is there? He'd have to go past all this down to Montfort, or, well, actually, Gisero is probably the best place that he could hit, so we can more or less ignore him. And Garth, to Castle Artois you go, buddy. And, ooh, well. If there isn't actually an army there, it isn't, however, in range and valiant defeat. Really, this? Okay, looks like we're gonna have to manually fight that one. In a little bit. I'd rather have a cinematic battle first, I think. Now, let's see what else we can move that is not fighting. Ickstone, you have to just stay where you are. Although, we tried blocking an army. Let's see. 34, 35, and 36. Well, let's try 36 then. Come on, Ickstone. Actually, it would be great if this worked. It did work. Well, isn't that nice? So this army can't help. These two can still move together, and they may very well be able to reach Carrick Flag, but two of them alone probably wouldn't be able to succeed. Great. Well done. Ickstone, you've paid for yourself. Bok the Harmless, you... I guess we'll probably be wanting to annoy some dwarfs here. Go for assault units against this army. Maybe somebody will attack them. Another success. Of course, they will heal, but perhaps they get attacked. And how much should Festus want to declare war on these guys again? Let's double check. He really hates Karakadrin. Minus 4.1, 18k. You know, it might actually be worth it. It's a lot of money. Let's see what else we gotta do. What else we gotta spend our money on? I'm tempted, I gotta say. You should assault units as well while you're at it, and your chance is much higher at assaulting Gouger back here, so let's gouge away. As in, we'll be the ones doing the gouging. Well done, Assassin. Get an additional assassination success chance, and this army is now a lot more heavily damaged as well. We should probably get a few more assassins onto the field just to act as unit assaulters. Corporal, you're heading down to Throt the Unclean, and Throt, you are going to jump down to Carrick Raziak. I was originally going to look for some orcs, but apparently they're not here, so instead we're going to take Karakadrin and possibly see off any other dwarven armies that move out here. Throt can help out with this a little bit, as Cyprus is probably not going to... Well, not Cyprus, Metable is probably not going to be able to handle it by himself. Engine Bolt, you are a cunning warlock engineer. Now, So here's the thing, Boilrin is going to be making units for several armies, probably. Lord Skrolk is coming back, and then next turn, most likely, we will either get Tretch Craventail or Deathmaster Snitch. We can probably build Snitch's army here as well as Lord Skrolk, however, so that we can hand off the Warplug Giselles to Snitch, and the Plague Claws to Skrolk. I don't want to go too heavily on Plague Claws, though, for Skrolk, because I want him to have a slightly different army than Scheif did. At the very least, he's going to have lots of Plague Monk Censor Bearers and probably 4 Plague Priests, and maybe a couple monstrous units as well, and just because Scheif lacks them. Although I guess Scheif has a Packmaster, but I guess we don't need to get one for Skrolk, although I suppose if we get him some monsters, we'll see. Let's start with those units, and then we will swap out whatever is needed afterwards. Boilrin will have to transfer units to 2 armies, so he can't be building full armies for both right away. Anyway, Lab Rats, let's have you steal some tech, and I guess you can go for Beckhoffen. Your steel tech is at 56, What's about... Ooh, much better chance at Nagenhof. Alright, fine, head to Nagenhof. Ronan, where are you again? You're an Eshin Sorcerer. Oh, right, you've been trying to get here for a while, and just to join Skrolky, or Throtty rather. You got Lord Skrolk on the mind since he's back. All right, well, Throt, you're gonna move down here. Maybe kill Vlad while you're on the way, just because he's nearby. And I think that's good enough. As in, while we do have some more stuff to do, let's get a fight going. Queek, you are well positioned to take out Sour Pigkissa. Gonna be real sour about all this in a second. Let us get you. Oh, and you also have Lightning Strike. Nice. You have Warp Smart, you have Whip Smart, and you don't need Gutterwise or Mutagenic Elixirs for your type of army. And I still want those Knights of Khorne to replace some of these Clan Rats. And just because I want the viciousest units for Queek. And I feel like we should probably not have as many Plague Claw catapults in this army, mostly because I want other units in here. But for now, we do two things. One, point in quartermaster, and then I guess we start building Queek out to be a monstrous fighter. Alright, now, since we have quartermaster, the rest of you, you should probably get sneaky regardless of what you have, just because you're on your bone breaker and it makes you a good target. A blade shield for you after that, of course. Gotta be careful with the chieftain that isn't immortal. You have blade shield. Fleet-footed, blade master. Okay, looks like you have pretty much everything that's good. Let's get you fleet-footed. A little bit of more speed. And, oh, probably could have gotten you a mentor if I didn't already get it. Too late now. Fervor for you. Nice. And lastly, the Warlock Engineer, which is still a temporary unit in this army. But for now, because we need to have a caster in here. Actually, Death Frenzy is pretty darn good with these units. But I don't want to have, like, 2 more heroes in here, and this army is just too many heroes. Although the idea of Queek Headtaker with like a coterie of killers is also not such a bad idea. I'm not sure. I will think about it. I'll definitely think about it. You know what? Let's get to you Squirt. No, you know what? Squirt just get you increased mobility. At least for now. Because we have to move towards Ublug and then probably back down towards Skarsnik as well, so... Let's start on Sour Pig Kissa. And we got an ambush on top of that. Very nice. Apparently a close victory, despite the ambush. But I don't see this being too problematic, considering the enemy's in march stance as well. So I think that their escaping the ambush won't matter, because they're in march stance. Though I did want to test that, so I guess this is a good opportunity to do so. Here we go. Damn it, every time I wait for a speech, and every time there isn't one, and also every time it seems that when Queek gets an ambush, he gets one on this map where he has a massive advantage due to that hill that he can put all his Plague Claws on. Anyway, the battle is joined insofar as the enemy is starting to take hits from all of our Plague Claws, and they do have a lot of infantry for us to kill. There we go, but at the same time, the enemy also has an artillery piece. Now, we could have probably destroyed that artillery piece with our own artillery if we really wanted to, but I also kind of wanted to see the chieftains do some fighting, so we're going to send them in. Unfortunately for us, they immediately get surrounded by trolls and piles of squigs, which might actually be able to hurt them, and thus we're going to send a unit of Menace Below clan rats to help them out a little bit and to act a little bit more as a meat shield. Otherwise, though, not much is happening. The enemy is just milling around while under massive amounts of bombardment from those Plague Claws, and it does look like a decent amount of them are just trying to escape. The enemy lord ran away immediately off the map rather than face Queek in battle, although I guess that shouldn't be all that surprising. And the rest of these units do seem to be trying to head off rather than towards our army, though maybe a few will actually get there in time. Otherwise, it looks like our clan rats are being chased off, and yeah, some of our chieftains are getting a little bit beat up by these trolls and squigs, and in fact, considering there's 2 units of trolls and 2 units of squigs there, we're going to retarget some of our artillery to damage them as well. Queek's disappointedly moving away now. I don't want to have him be fighting enemy units just to distract them while artillery is going for them. So he's just gonna run past them all. And I do say disappointedly, because he really wanted to kill that lord. He was gonna look forward to enjoying that. And now it is time for the rest of our army to more or less move in. Of course, we are not going to have very long battle here, but the enemy did move up a bunch of orc error boys that we are going to hit with our melee units, and are not going to hit with our artillery, mostly because, well, our melee units are going to be there, and then our artillery will be a threat to them. The chieftains continue to take a little bit of a beating, but now that the Plague Claws are firing into this blob as well, we should be okay. The Plague Claws are going to hurt the enemy a lot more than they're going to hurt the Bone Breakers here. And I think the same thing probably goes for the Fanatics. You're really not going to do too much damage to these guys. And we do repeatedly also pop the Verminous Valor to try to knock the enemy away from the from the Bonebreakers a little bit. Here comes the Skryre Clanstone as well as a Warp Lightning as well. And we are free, and we're going to back off a little bit just because Slicin' is starting to get kind of damaged. Otherwise, the rest of our units, our Storm Vermin and Clan Rats, have hit those enemy Goblin Archers and Error Boys and are overwhelming them extremely quickly as well. Or extremely quickly, I should say. Speaking of quick, he's finally getting into combat and actually fighting something, rather than chasing an enemy Gobbo, not Orc, that didn't want to fight him. Alright, all you rats need to get out of Queek's way or he's gonna start killing you. Probably not the rat that you want to be blocking at any time. Anyway, let's see. Most of the enemy infantry do seem to be moving off the field. We are going to catch the enemy ranged by the looks of it, but it does also look like the enemy army is going to shatter. A couple more hits from our Storm Vermin and a couple more from that pile of Bonebreaker riding chieftains, but otherwise we don't need to chase the enemy, as we want to see whether the enemy army does in fact get destroyed regardless of escaping the ambush. Gotta put this through the test. Alrighty, well, we'll speed it up because the battle will be ended in a couple of seconds. Queek's just briefly using his Scalm to heal up the very slight amount of damage he may have taken, even if he... actually, I'm not entirely sure whether he actually took any. But he's gonna use the Scalm anyway. You never know. And there we go, just like that, the battle is ended. It is a close victory according to this, probably because of the damage to the chieftains, but any damage to our regular units will be healed up, so I don't really see how this could be close at all. Especially if the enemy army gets destroyed by this, which we're about to find out. Alrighty, there we go. Army is defeated. Let's find out whether they are fully destroyed if they're in march stance but to get out of the ambush. I'm very curious. Took a little bit of damage on our chieftains. Definitely gonna have to be a little bit more careful with those guys, but well, it was primarily because they got surrounded by trolls and squigs. And just gotta be careful and have them supported by clan rats or Skaven slaves or something. So this army is... Hey, we got perfect vigor. And yes, this army does indeed get destroyed. So after that extremely rigorous test of one sample size, we know for sure. Well, I guess two sample size, because it happened before, and I just wanted to confirm. Anyway, Queek, you've got yourself another point. Probably doesn't matter all that much, but let's get your Blade Master. And Warlock Engineer, okay, you're maxed out in increased mobility, so let's get Triangulation to get a little bit more power for those Blade Claws. Otherwise, I think we don't need to get the points on the Chieftains, with the exception of possibly you, who just got Mentor. And actually, just to double check, you already have that, right? Yes. And then you can get Blade Shield, since you're all in danger. Alrighty, and then I guess it's time for Queek to go yet again against this second army, though there are not a lot of monsters in this one to actually threaten the chieftains. I suppose we could continue a little bit our admin here. Just want to move these guys up so that they can get closer to Queek's army. And let's do a little bit more admin and then we'll fight again. Let's see, Engine Bolt Ratmech. Oh wow, it's been a while since we've managed to get another Undercity going. Yeah, still another 6 turns remaining at that. Not surprising, mind you, just annoying. Ooh, wait. Hrothgar Spire is a little bit closer. One more turn. Labrat, you do not need to establish an Undercity, you merely need to steal some tech. So steal it from Sjoktraken. And then once again, what kind of tech the dwarfs might hold that we might want is still a question. There you go, good job, Labrat. And it looks like Krakadrak will actually fall to our Norscan allies. But that's fine. We can let Wintertooth have all these territories. I don't really care. We just have to make sure that we get Frozen Landing back ourselves. Should also probably upgrade the Arsenal Carrot Flag. Alrighty, back to admin. And what do we have here? Pustin Yosef. Who are you again? You are, oh, you're one of the Eshin sorcerers. Yes, you were both summoned for a specific purpose, and that purpose was to join Deathmaster Snitch's army. And I believe one of you is disciplined, yes, and one of you is, I want to say, tough. Yeah. Alright, that's fine. You two, I guess, are going to move down here. If we're going to start making Snitch's army down south, and then I guess that's where we'll be joining. And I was originally thinking we might make Snitch's army at Nuln, but because it's going to take 4 turns to get the Pestilent Knave up and running, it's going to be faster to get the Gutter Runners with Poison up and running at Skaven Blight, which will happen next turn. So we'll be able to start recruiting those. I guess we wouldn't save too much because, well, we'd have to move a couple turns extra, but at least Snitch's army will be ready. And now, who else? Mechanigear, we're probably going to delete you. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to delete you right now. And again, wait, no, you're a Plague Priest. I was thinking of Engine Bolt, not Mechanigear. Oh, Engine Bolt still has... Nah. They're both cunning, so maybe we don't want to delete them quite yet. Scalpo's Scuttle, you are going to grab Kappelberg. You're going to colonize it at tier 1. And just for now. Mostly because there's a very good chance it'll get deleted. And ooh, Telebime's almost ready for an upgrade, which means I think we'll hold off on Kappelberg for now. Let's get expansionist planning as well. And you, I think it's time to go. We're currently at 30k. This will put us up to, let's see, 33k. That's not bad. He was just here to recruit stuff. Or not recruit stuff, colonize stuff. Same thing. Let's see. What do we have up next? Upside the Experimenter. Ooh, speaking of Upside the Experimenter, before we move him, I've now figured out what I want to do with these armies. So, Morphific is going to be a, well, he's going to have a completely different, well, mostly completely different army. He's going to have a bunch of Doomflayers together with a bunch of Storm Vermin. And that's going to be the concept here. The Doomflayers to act as a bolstering force within the line of Storm Vermin, especially as they have that Blade Swirl now and get that Sundered Armor to help the Storm Vermin fight, and should be pretty darn decent in holding together like that. Maybe we'll get a few other units in there, like a couple of Rat Ogres or something, to actually act as the cav, as the Doomflayers, frankly, aren't going to be as great at it, but we're probably better off just keeping a couple of Giselles and artillery, especially since Morphific has Doommaster, Boommaster, not Doommaster, although I do like Doommaster as well. Plague Rolk is then going to have a pile of Doom Wheels together with a pile of Giselles. The Giselles to hide while the Doom Wheels skirmish. It'll essentially be a skirmisher army. Doom Wheels acting as skirmisher cavalry, and the Giselles sniping away from a distance, then hiding in stock. Lastly, Obside the Experimenter is going to be our experimental Poison Wind army, a ton of Poison Wind mortars and Poison Wind Globadiers and Death Globe Bombardiers, together with probably a few other units that are probably going to be a little bit more monstrous, I think. Maybe a couple Packmasters and a few Kelpid Abominations or something along those lines. Something that isn't going to be super susceptible to getting instantly killed by our Death Globes and stuff. Mutant 2, you can probably keep your army as it is, and because it's pretty good, and we'll need you to the north. Although, what we could do instead is have you just transfer these things to these guys. Yeah, you know what, maybe we'll do that. Rather than recruiting stuff for the mortar army, they will probably want to build a few more mortars. We could do that much easier afterwards. Alrighty, well, at least that's been somewhat decided. We still have to make up armies for, well, I guess Skrulk and Deathmaster Snitch are kind of self-explanatory as to the kind of armies that they're gonna get, but we still have to make armies for Tretch, and I think there was another army I was thinking of that I wanted to try in terms of unit types, but I can't remember. Oh, right, I wanted to try an army that was a mix of Clan Moors and Clan Eshin. So Storm Vermin in combination with some Slingers specifically, because we don't have a Slinger-centric army. And while they're not very good, I still would like to have one, and just as a variety sort of thing. Anyway, Corporal, time for you to go. I mean, I guess we could do another battle with Queek, but I'd rather spread out the different types of battles. You could really use, well, I guess we could get you Blade Master and Thickskin. Frankly, you could use Sneaky as well, but also Quartermaster. Let's get Quartermaster first. We'll get the other stuff after. Gotta keep our cash flow. And let's see, you kept scouting maxed out. Let's get your second level of Wither. I like Blessed with Filth, don't get me wrong, but considering we have Vermintide, I'd never spend mana on Blessed with Filth when you have Vermintide available. Anyway, head out to Mr. Grim Ranulfson here. And we got an ambush for this? We do not. We do not have an ambush. So, the question here is, do we fight all three armies simultaneously? The problem is that Corporal's army is just not very good at catching things. Which makes me think we're better off just outright killing this army with a lightning strike. And then killing the rest of these guys after. If we had a lot more faster units in this army, I would probably just fight them all at the same time, because then we could chase them off, but if we can't chase them off, we're better off doing this. Anyway, here we go, a lightning strike. Decisive victory by the looks of it. Should still be wary of taking too much damage, though, as that could be bad, and it isn't an ambush, so we do have to be careful about those artillery pieces damaging our storm vermin. Corpable? You're supposed to make a speech? What is this? Weird. Very weird. Usually they only don't make speeches in ambush battles. Anyway, here we go again. Corporal will continue his incessant bullying of the Ironbrows expedition. Would be nice to bully Thorek himself once again before his faction dies, but we'll see if we can get Corporal to actually get into a fight with him or not. Either way, we are going to deploy as far away from the enemy as possible, not quite to the corner, because once again I don't like to be in the corners, as it's too close to the edge of the map and that feels a little cheap, but we do want to maintain enough distance from the enemy so that their cannons can't fire on us right now, and so that we can move up our Warplock Jezzails and snipe those cannons, and possibly the Grudge Throwers as well. I've also deployed Corporal by himself on this side for a similar reason, and I started the deployment of the Plague Priest on this side for a sort of similar reason as well, mostly just to feed units into this blob via Vermintide, while Corporal hits the enemy Grudge Throwers and cannons in the back if the Jezzails should fail. Well, we'll see about that, though. They're nearly in position now. I'm just going to speed it up again while they continue moving. You look kind of silly. I look kind of silly when they're running around at max speed like that. And there we go, finally. Finally. Took a little bit of time, but it was necessary. We are far enough away from the enemy army so that none of their ranged units can hit us other than those artillery pieces. And hopefully we can damage the artillery pieces pretty heavily before they get a bead on us, and by which point we will simply stop firing and go back into stock. First of the enemy cannons is destroyed, second one follows suit, and then there were two. Alrighty, and then as we can see, we're just going to back off a little bit until our units are hidden once again, and the AI doesn't know where they are anymore. Also got to be careful about those brimstone guns, gyrocopters with brimstone guns, as they could do quite a bit of damage. Also, as we've destroyed most of the armies with Corporal that were near him, we are a little bit more free to actually engage the enemy army in a proper sort of melee fight. So we're going to do some damage with our range, but we are going to engage rather than just maintaining distance this time around, just for fun. And just because we can. While we do want to avoid a crazy amount of damage, we can take a little bit here, as I'm not super concerned. Anyway, the Jezzails have backed off a little bit and are now getting ready to get some more of those volleys out. I'm gonna take a few shots at those gyrocopters, mostly because they're quite irritating. And they're a little bit too far for our Warp Lightning cannons to target at this time. On the bright side, of course, the enemy artillery can't target us either, which means more volleys hitting them in a few seconds. And of course, this is just the opening skirmish. The proper battle will be happening shortly, but we should take advantage of our Jezzails, which is why we brought them. slash pretty much always bring them. And there we go, the warp lightning cannons finally getting in range of an enemy. We went forward with them, but also with the rest of our army as well. Looks like the grudge throwers hits the council guard right in the middle of their formation, destroys a few of those very elite storm vermin units. Otherwise, as I said, we don't care about that as much, so we will be moving forward and taking hits from those grudge throwers all the while. Of course, probably not for long, as the Warplug Jezzails have finished off those cannons and are now firing on the grudge throwers. The warp lightnings are going to be taking out those brimstone copters fairly quickly as well, I'm sure. Down to one. Very nice. That was a pretty cool shot, actually. And the last one gets knocked out of the sky. More where that came from, however, regular gyrocopters instead of the brimstones, and it looks like they're gearing up to drop those gyrocopter bombs on top of some of our rats here, or some of our storm vermin. And down go the bombs. Let's see how much damage this does. Pretty decent sized explosions. Let's see about that splash damage. Here comes some more bombs as well. Just want to see that in slow motion, since we really don't get to see a lot of that. Let's see, we've got a decent amount. 23 of the storm vermin destroyed and about, let's say, 20% of the HP gone. That said, this unit should be just about dead, as well as the death globes in combination with the warp lightnings will now be knocking them out of the sky. I said we'll now be knocking them out of the sky. There you go. Oh, and it looks like they're running away now. Alrighty, fair enough. Well, the rest of the battle is joined. We use our Vermintide as well as our Plague Monk summoning, and the Plague Monks, of course, get almost instantly deleted by those Iron Drakes, but the rest of our army will be marching forward. Or somewhat the rest of our army. We don't really need to commit the Storm Vermin with halberds right now, as they're a little bit weak in melee against the dwarfs. Plus, they might just get in the way of death globes, so I think we're more or less fine. There isn't much melee left here. Lots of ranged enemy units, mind you, but we're taking care of those. Corporal is going to be tying up those Thunderers. The Jezzails have nearly taken care of the Grudge Throwers, and we'll be switching to the other range units, specifically to those Iron Drakes, as fast as possible. I'd love to see the Iron Drakes fire a little bit more if they don't get distracted by Corporal. And there we go, firing right into Corporal and his Brood Horror mount just as he moves in. But only to turn their backs upon more summoned clan rats and then get into melee, which is not where they really want to be. Our death globes also firing away or chucking their death globes at the miners, mostly to prevent them from chucking their blasting charges, not so much that they're any kind of threat. The giants and the council guard move in to kill the rest of the miners remaining after then. It looks like the enemy army is already in absolutely horrible shape, down to about, well, a little bit over half of their troops, but 90% out of favor in terms of the balance of power. And the Jezzails have killed the enemy artillery. They will now be switching to some other units. There's a unit of Bugman's Rangers here, for example, that should be taking a few shots to the back. Ooh, I actually thought that this might be a good idea, shooting these guys in the back with our Jezzails, but it looks like the bullets do penetrate the line of enemies well enough to still damage our Storm Vermin on occasion, which is kind of dangerous. Yeah, certainly killing a few Storm Vermin that way. Oh well, live and learn, I suppose, next time. Otherwise, it looks like the enemy army is pretty much done for. About 5% left in terms of the balance of power. The enemy Lord still fighting and is, in fact, unbreakable here. Corporal, unfortunately, gets pretty badly hurt fighting all these units plus the enemy Lord, but he does once again have that healing potion as well as regeneration. And we all also got to remember that this army started off very tired due to the lightning strike, so. And there's also that. Alrighty, well, it looks like there are very... Death globes hitting our council guard there. Very few of the enemy remaining, and it does look like the rest of the army will be chain routing right about now. These Bugman's Rangers wanted to move in and hit those Jezzails, but unfortunately no dice. Now it's just time to kill the enemy Lord, so Corporal moves back in, knocking him around. Looks like the Rune Lord doesn't have enough charge resist or mass resistance or whatever it's called, and to not get knocked around by the Brood Core. which is annoying both for him and for us. For him it's annoying because he can't hit back while that's happening. For us it's annoying because the enemy is invulnerable while knocked down. Although it does look like he's fighting the giant incorporeal now as well. We're gonna just move past him a little bit with our death globes, though they're gonna get knocked around by the giant a little bit. And just want those guys to chase as best they can. And I wonder what this game would look like if you turned on melee friendly fire, so that units like giant, large units in general. Oh, and look at these giants just advancing upon the enemy lord. This is a scary, scary place to be. Oh, and I like how Corporal is between them. They are his giant bodyguards, I suppose. After all, though I'm sure that he's a better combatant than any one of them. There we go, nearly simultaneous swings from the giants as well, and the enemy lord's down to 900 HP, regardless of that rune of oath and steel, rather, putting him at nearly 200 armor. We just have way too much armor piercing on these guys. Giants doing mostly armor piercing damage. Though I'm not entirely sure it's really armor piercing so much as armor crushing, but I'm sure that works just fine. I really like this shot with the 3 giants and Corporal. Very nice, all you 3. And there we go, looks like Corporal gets the last hit with a nice vomit burst from his brood corer. But the giants are a little bit lazy, and they all walk in different directions in a big pout, I am sure. Otherwise, the battle is done. We're just going to give chase to as many enemy units as we can, hopefully not killing too many of our own with either the Death Globes or the Giselles. Looks like we got one unit that got kind of badly damaged, down by 60 on this one unit of Storm Vermin, but otherwise we went pretty okay. Decisive victory, of course, and we should be able to heal up most of that damage. Any damage left over to Corporal is irrelevant, and hopefully we can take out the rest of the units. Ooh, if any units survive, and I do think at least a couple here did, we might be able to chase them down and draw the garrison out by attacking them, which would be great. Alright, not bad as always, Corporal. You still are going to be able to heal up to full health, even though the slight damage to your army, and on top of that, your own damage is irrelevant because of your regeneration and your potion of healing. I love it. And now, the fact that a few of those units escaped may also not be such a bad thing, depending on if you can reach any of them. And indeed, you can reach a Logazor Furrowbrow here. Now, ironically, it would be very bad for us if we actually got an ambush here, because we'd want to draw the rest of this army out, or the rest of these guys out. It would be a lot easier to fight them all. Well, I guess we're about to find out. Let's get you your last couple of points. You have Quartermaster maxed out, so I guess it's time for Blade Master. Not that you really needed a lot more melee attack. And the Plague Priest, you can have... well, I guess now you can have Bless with Filth. Yeah, fair enough. Alrighty, and oh, you don't need to be in this stance anymore, just go into regular stance. And you'll still have a little bit of movement remaining. So I suppose even if the ambush does occur, well, we're probably not going to be able to reach Warvor here, which would have been the better thing, but it's okay. And of course it's going to be an ambush. Okay, well. Unfortunate. You know, I'd love to auto-resolve this, but we're right outside of Garrison, and I just don't trust the auto-resolve. We're going to fight the battle manually. We're going to do it super, super quick. I just want to make sure that we gun down those units without taking any damage. As obviously, Corporal will have to fight next turn against the full stack, plus the Garrison, plus the remnants of that stack, and then if he can't take the Garrison in this turn, then he'll also have to fight probably another full stack. I do imagine there's at least one more left out there. Alrighty, so let's just set this up super simple where we can fire on the enemy from a decent angle. Start deployment. That looks good to me. Let's do this. Let's go one Giselle unit here, one Giselle unit... that's too close. Let's do like that. And then you guys should be close enough to fire. Corporal, you can move in, and then we'll summon a couple of clan rats in there as well. And the rest of you can just be back here. It doesn't really matter what you do at all. Alright, and that looks good. Start battle, please. Go for Vermintide, and then Corporal, move around. You guys go for the Slayers. Alrighty, Slayers are indeed distracted. Let's make sure that the Jezzails be sniping. And there we go. Alrighty, those Slayers are just about done for already. We'll send the Clan Rats in nonetheless. Alright, the Warp Lightnings are doing pretty good. You know what, let's have the Jezzails kill the Lord as well. Like so, and then as soon as that Lord routs, we can send Corporal in. I wonder how many of those Slayers are going to be left after this. You know what, summon another Vermintide in the way of those Slayers just in case. I would prefer that they weren't chasing our death globes. And there we go, that unit is done for. Catapults or Warp Lightning stop firing so that you don't hurt our own units. And then Corporal, heal yourself and kill the Slayer. Slayers. You know, maybe one more volley. You back out. Try not to get hit by friendly fire. Actually, a few extra seconds of Corporal healing or healing himself would be great. Ah, there we go. Speed up to max. Last, the Slayers will be dead, and we've got Corporal healed and no damage. I guarantee the auto-resolve would have taken at least 50 to 100 of our units, and we wouldn't have been able to heal next turn, so I do think that was kind of necessary. Just to avoid auto-resolve annoyance, if nothing else. And our Stormmermen are almost to rank 7 by the looks of it. Some already are, but, well, we need the rest of them there as well. I don't know how much food we're gonna get from this. Let's find out. We did kill them to a man, but we've auto-resolved these little mini remnants of armies before, and sometimes we got very little food, and sometimes, 9, medium amount of food, not bad. Let us then take more food, make it 11 food. Beautiful. Another crown of command that we don't need, and question, can you reach Warvor? Ah, looks like we can't, just barely. So damn close, too. Are you sure you can't reach him? Yeah, you can't. Oh, okay. For a second I thought we wouldn't be able to reach the settlement, but that's fine. We will indeed be able to reach it, but I think we're going to have to leave that to next time, as we are once more out of time. This turn will certainly see a lot more territories taken back as we make our way towards the enemies from various directions in order to retake the territories or the ground that we lost last episode. Next time, Karak Zorn will fall to Corporal. Queek will continue his fight with the Crooked Moon Orcs, destroying yet another army of March Stancing, primarily regular orcs and some gobos here, and then move down to fight Skarsnik. We should also be able to destroy the Karazakarak dwarfs for good, or otherwise very badly damage the Crooked Moon that are still out here with these three. And I think those will probably be the only ones that... Oh, wait, and we still have to do the Castle Artois battle with Garth as well. So lots and lots of stuff to do as we make our way forward in several other locations as well, like with Chargelock to fight these dwarfs. And at the very least, we're going to be pushing back outwards towards our borders so that we lose less ground. And just have to take care of all these piles of units moving towards us due to the anti-player bias. So anyway, stay tuned for more rats, and don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.